Good afternoon everyone. My name is Natesh Sharan and I'll be your instructor for the day. Okay, so today we are going to cover certain session on SUSE Enterprise Linux Administration, and what are those sessions we'll see. Okay, so today I'm going to cover the session Module 6, Managed Hardware. Okay, so what do you mean by the two keywords managed hardware? Any suggestion? What do you think about managed hardware? Is it opening up a computer and working on it, or what you are doing actually with these two keywords?
Controlling hardware using some external thing.
Okay, so he's quite, okay, I get it. So he's quite close to it. So there is something we can control the device. Okay, so that is, let us take a real-time example. So I have two computers. Let us say computer A and computer B. Okay, so these two computers are not connected using a network. Okay, but I have certain data here, and I want to copy these data and move it to computer B. Okay, so how is it possible? What are the possible things? Probably you can have a help of USB stick. I'll insert my USB stick.
There is no any network.
No, there is no network. There is no network. If there is a network, I'll probably use a network. Okay, FTP session. There are so many options available. But here there is no network, so probably I'll use an external device, something like USB stick. Okay, so I'll insert my USB stick. Okay, I'll insert my USB stick, and what happens? You'll see the screen. Right? It will show you all the data that are already inside the USB stick. So you will copy your data to your USB stick, and you are going to use the same USB stick and insert it B. Okay? So while inserting in B, nothing happens. You are not able to see the screen. Okay? So what will be the problem? It was working fine in computer A, but when I am inserting the same stick on computer B, nothing happens. Okay.
USB is not enabled.
Probably, yes. Okay, so what is happening actually?
So you have designed by the system.
Yes, you are quite close to it. So there is something happening behind the screen, right? So what is happening behind the screen? So whenever you insert a USB stick, right? So you are able to see the screen, right? How does that happen? Okay, that's what we are going to cover today. Alright? So today's subject is nothing but there is something called device driver. So this is the keyword which will explain you what is actually happening behind the screen whenever you insert a USB stick, external hardware. Okay, so this is nothing but the device driver. So I'll explain you how device driver works in Linux. Alright, and the last module, there is something called managed kernel module manual. Okay, so once you understand this, probably we'll go with the second one, the last session. Alright, so these are the two important topics which we are going to cover. So first, I'm going to describe how device driver works. Okay, so first let me understand what do you mean by device. Okay, you can just tell me what you mean by device in a layman term. Is it an instrument, or what is it?
Some electronic hardware.
Okay, some electronic hardware. With respect to computer, any examples?
USB and
Okay.
CD drive. Some of the examples.
Examples. Okay. Sorry? Webcam. Yeah, that's a good example. Nothing. It's all hardware, right? So device is nothing but it's a hardware piece. It's a physical piece of a hardware. Okay. Something related with the computer. If you are going to insert a USB printer, that is the hardware, right? So you are going to those are the examples. Your NIC card. NIC is nothing but your network interface card. All right, and the PCI cards. So these are nothing but the hardware device. Now you have inserted let us say for him he inserted a webcam on Linux. Alright. So how is it possible to interact with the webcam? Is it just not possible like as soon as you insert your webcam to the operating system, to your hardware, right, to your computer slot, will it work? On the whole, right? So that is a question we need to ask. So there is something happening behind the screen. So those are nothing but interface. There is something called interface. Okay, interface is nothing but a software component associated with the hard disk. With the device, hardware device. Alright. So as he said, he bought a USB. He bought a webcam. Alright. He bought a webcam, and with those webcam, okay, sometimes they might provide you a software component. Software component is nothing but an interface. Only if you have this interface, your webcam can talk to your operating system. Alright, as if it's quite confusing, let me just draw a diagram and let you know. So here we have certain application. Alright, let us say the application is running on your Linux OS. Let it be SUSE Linux. Alright, and here we have the device. Let it be a webcam. Webcam or your USB stick. It doesn't matter. Alright? So whenever you insert your webcam or your USB stick to your camera, to your hardware, to your CPU, what happens? Okay? There is something called a bridge, which is nothing but your interface. Okay? So only if there is something called interface. What is interface? Nothing but a software component associated with each device. So webcam will have its own interface. Your USB stick will have its own interface. Okay? So only if you have this bridge between your device and your application or your operating system, then only both of these can communicate with each other. Okay? So this is nothing but, any doubts in this interface? You got the meaning, right? This is nothing but a small bridge. Let us take in a real-time example. It's a small bridge. Okay? If this bridge is broken, both of the party won't be able to communicate. Your webcam won't be detected by the OS operating system. Alright? So this is interface. Then we have something called drivers. What do you mean by drivers? Whenever you purchase, let us say, if you are purchasing any Sony webcam or anything, you might get a CD with it, right? Telling that this is the driver CD, you have to have it. So what is that?
To enable that device in your OS, you have to install that CD.
Yeah, so to enable the device, you have to install the CD. Okay, so most of the drivers are built with Windows OS because most of the users use Windows OS. So most of the party like Sony or any other company, take an example, so they will build their, so if Sony is coming with a webcam, they will build their driver which will work on Windows. Plus if they are going with Linux, there are certain other developers who will work on Linux, so in order to get their driver working. So there is something called driver. So driver is nothing but, driver creates the interface. Okay, so there is something called drivers. So this bridge is owned by drivers. If you don't have this driver, the bridge will be broken, and again both your device and your application won't be able to communicate. Okay, got it? Any doubts in this?
Will the interface will be unique for every device, or it will be common for all the devices?
No, it is independent. So if you are having a webcam will have its own interface maintained by its own drivers. Okay. Plus webcam, a device can have multiple interface. That is one more point. It can have multiple. It is not dependent on a single interface. It can have multiple interface. And those interfaces will be probably managed by a specific drivers. Got it? Any doubts in this? Clear? Yeah? Alright. This is another small picture which I explained you. So we have the driver in between, and here you have the your device, and here you have your operating system. So both can communicate only if you have the main part, which is nothing but your drivers. Driver is nothing but a glue between device and its interface.
This interface will be already, it's an inbuilt available in the operating system itself, or whether we have to install it externally?
Interface is inbuilt in the operating system. Like each device will have its own interface. It depends upon the operating system. Linux by default has its own, like they have built in such a way that it supports almost all the hardware. Got it? We'll come to that in detail. Okay. So first, now you understand what you mean by device and what you know by interface, right? So what do you mean by drivers? Okay, so there are two basic kinds of device drivers under Linux. Alright, so those drivers are kernel modules and user space drivers. Okay, so let me just give you a brief information about Linux kernel. Everyone knows that Linux kernel is an open source kernel, blah blah blah. So Linux kernel is a modular kernel. Okay, Linux kernel is a modular kernel because what do you mean by modular? Okay, whenever a new module is nothing but something like the kernel module that I am speaking. Okay, whenever there is a new module coming up, you can actually insert the module into your kernel, into your running kernel, in your running time, during your runtime. If you are working on a system,